about it being a flex pick, but it's not really something that we see Team Solo Mid use as a flex pick very frequently. I think a lot of it is just going to be having that extra, the crowd control, the ability to stun this Grace out of a Divine Intervention, or even just using the Githyan Wall to knock her away when she starts a Holy Nova can be game-changing. Like, I've seen multiple team fights where a Holy Nova starts up, would get like a 3-man stun, but a Githyan Wall knocks her out of the way and it ends up hitting nothing and leaving Grace locked in place, just like if Lance had missed his Impale.
That's the Black Feather that I mentioned. Because it's a really good flex pick for Gankstars, both can go to lane and can go to the jungle. TSM decide to take it away. Also because it's just a really strong pick in this update and in this meta. So smart choice by TSM to ban it away.
There's also the fact that Best Chuck is an incredibly good Celeste, so taking that counter off the board. Would not be surprised if Gankstars were to ban the Celeste here because the Black Feather is already taken away.
I think if they ban the Celeste, they will probably end up picking the CP Idris. I think that's what TSM are trying to go for here. If you ban the CP Idris, we can get the Celeste. If you ban the Celeste, we can get the CP Idris. Unless they're going to play the Adagio from last weekend, which I actually don't expect because they didn't have great success on it.
Yeah, the Adagio was kind of like it didn't really work out for them, so it's likely that they'll lean to other picks instead. Draft did just bug out slightly, so we'll be restarting that one. I believe that the picks that were already locked in will be relocked once again. We'll be able to jump back into the draft where we left off. But looking towards what we've seen picked so far, obviously both captains locked in. We've seen I've already forgotten the third
Lance
pick.
And the Lance
that sorry, the third pick that came on through as well.
Not yet a third pick.
There was not a third pick?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm away with the fairies then, apparently. But the bans have come on through and the captains come on through, so it's still very open for these two teams in where they can go with this.
Yeah, I mean, the last pick coming on TSM here, or for TSM, for Flash X, it's a captain that we actually haven't seen them play too much of. So far, the Finn has been a huge pick for Flash X, and they've been using it to a great success just because they know how to use it in the jungle to win duels and play around it as a unit. And when Finn is with his teammates, he's such a strong dueling pick because he has so much tankiness and he can provide so much statistics to his teammates.
All right, well, getting back into this one. Again, choice has to be made for Gankstars. They are going to take that Celeste off the board. I do think that makes the most sense into this situation. Obviously, yes, you are giving a potential Idris pick over, but Team Solo Mid not going to take the Idris, instead looking for a Rhyme for themselves.
I mean, honestly, there aren't too many counter picks left. We mentioned how, before we talked about how Cruel is good against Rhyme because he's one of the only melee junglers that can duel against him. Gangstar is going to be forced to play a range composition, which I would expect them to play Samuel in the jungle if they try to go for it, because that's one of Xenotech's comfort picks. But even then, Rhyme is really good if you know how to play him against ranged heroes.
And I was going to say the Kestrel was something that we saw used in Europe. Kestrel and Scarf were the two that were used to go against the Rhyme, but it is going to be Kestrel and Samuel. So they do have that long range game coming out, but now Team Solo Mid, they're going to finish this off with a Petal. The Petal, I think, is a little risky with this composition because Kestrel's Glimmer Shots and Malice and Verdicts from Samuel can both just melt through a Petal who does not have a lot of health.
Yeah, I mean, Petal definitely a very squishy character, but you could say the same for Kestrel. If Petal can find Kestrel out of position, that health bar will melt down as well. So definitely going to be an interesting matchup over towards the lane. What are we feeling about these compositions? How's this one going to play out?
I mean, Petal and Rhyme is a composition that we saw both from C9 and Tribe last weekend. Both teams won with it, the specific duo of Petal and Rhyme. Why? Because it applies a lot of pressure early on with the Rhyme. He can play very aggressive, and then Petal kicks in mid-game once she picks up her offensive items, and you can just play really aggressive. If they catch Grace out of position, she's going to die, and if they catch one of the backline characters out of position, they're going to die too.
All right, it's time to get on into our first North American game of the day. Hashtag Vainglory8 to let us know whether you're part of the Gank fam or if you're supporting TSM coming into this one. It's time to pass over to our casters and kick off game number one.
Thank you very much, guys. My name is George, joined by Denominee. We're going to get into the first game of TSM versus Gankstars. This is going to be a fun one, and we've seen Best Chuck pop off throughout the weeks. We'll see if he can carry on that aggression on this Petal.
Yeah, definitely looking to do so. We've seen, obviously, Cloud9 and Tribe actually last week with some huge performances on this pick. I think Tyrez earlier had also mentioned that he wishes C9 never brought it to the meta, but if it's a strong pick, you can expect C9 and TSM to try to pick that up. And obviously, this early engage here, Jaws, here we go.
Yeah, fairly early engaged. Lulu's actually already dead. Xenotek's going to get chased out here. Best Jakane running people down with those weapon blades. Mac Daddy D does get Githim walled into the wall. Can Best Jakane do anything? Fashx with the boost. Trampoline comes through. A little bit too healthy to go on the advance, but TSM still pick up first blood.
Yeah, and that gold going over to Best Chuck is definitely huge for them, as obviously getting that critical build online will be huge for Petal. Those big 400, 500, 600 damage spikes coming out of the weapon Petal, thanks to the weapon power boost she gets from Trampoline in that late game, will be absolutely massive. And for the squishy targets on Gankstars, that's going to be easy pickings for Best Chuck.
Absolutely will be. And you said you don't really want to see Petal. I don't know if you said that, but I'm pretty sure Scoundrel said that. We had a discussion the other day. It was like, please, can we not see any more weapon power Petal? And I was like, I want to see more. And I'm actually happy Best Chuck's picked it up here, because who better to have it on than Best Chuck, right? It does look like Xenotek's going for a small engagement, but I don't think it's going to really result in anything, as Fashx does get the Githim wall on him. He will end up just backing off, going fairly low, however, with Vonsi only just rotating towards the lane now. Triple Crystal Bit in hand. Winter Spires are going to start to stack up, but it doesn't look like Gankstars actually getting the early rotation off here, going towards the Elder Treant now.
Yeah, and Gankstars really needs to get this, as Mac Daddy B's Flask is still down for a while, so getting any gold on the team right now is huge.
Does land a big Holy Nova onto two people. Best Chuck is going to bounce his way in, but Mac Daddy D going low. Lulu's dead as well. Xenotek has to just drift himself away. TSM pick up 2 kills off the back of that Elder Treant start.
Yeah, and they're not done. They look for a Treant as well. They are going to get it. It's going to get some more gold in their pocket, as well as the shop doubles here will be going over to Von C. Flash obviously getting a little bit of ambient from that. The only Flask on the side of TSM that was popped during that fight was Flash. So Vonsi and Chuck still have that additional defensive resource available to them going on into the next fight. And it looks like Best Chuck and Vonsi actually going to split some more ambience here in the back, really trying to make sure that Petal's able to get online. And obviously, Rhyme going to struggle a little bit against the Kestrel and the Samuel as this game goes on, as he's not good at soaking up that frontline damage.
Well, you say that, but he's got 2 kills to nominate, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, so he's just going to be able to run at them now, just like Mac Daddy D is doing to Fashx. He's getting stunned up. That Holy Nova was really good, and Xenotek actually just finished him off with the Malice and Verdict. Minion Candy doing its work as well. They're just going to siege down this tier 1 turret. Vonsi is coming through though. Best Jakane took too many glimmer shots. Can't really go for an engagement just for the moment. Winter Spire will keep Gankstars at bay for now.
Yeah, and this is really what Gankstars needs to be doing. This siege composition does need to win out on these turret pushes in the early game, and we already see him taking down the
Gonna
first
go down,
turret,
but Vonsi's going in. Winter Spire is going to hit that. Oh, Holy Nova only just missing, but Fashx gets the gauntlet, or at least, sorry, gets the Impale in, and the Githim wall does end up landing on Mac Daddy B, but Gankstars still with the very, very good rotation, using that Minion Candy to good effect. And in fact, that's something we've seen TSM do over the last few weeks. Prioritize that Minion Candy, and it's just been used completely against them.
Yeah, it definitely helps hold out on the wave, which can give you a lot more time to either deny the enemy farm or take down that first turret. And the first turret didn't give Gankstars a gold advantage, but it does give them a objective and positional advantage, as it did bring them back into par with TSM, who's been doing such a good job in the fights. Got that first blood, as well as 2 half rotations out of the side of Gankstars.
Pick up some extra gold for themselves. That gold mine is on the board, however, but TSM are reaching their level 6 marks, which will mean Valkyrie is available for Vonsi. We've seen some devastating Valkyries in VGO in the challenges earlier this week. Rhyme is really coming up as such a needle must-pick hero early on in the drafts. It's kind of a wonder how Vonsi kind of got his hands on it. This guy's such a playmaker as it is, and when he's level 6 online very, very shortly, he is going to be a bit of a menace in that jungle.
Yeah, not only that level 6 online, but has also already prioritized those tier 2 boots, making sure his engagement is ready that much sooner. And now Flash
look
comes
at that
in with
Impale! 3-man! Valkyrie comes down, stuns up 2. Best Jakane is going to have a field day. Get the wall for Lulu straight into the turret, signals his death. And that'll be Gankstars backing off with a tail between their legs. Beautiful engage from TSM.
Yeah, and to start it off, Flash had a absolutely amazing Githian wall. They were able to lock Kestrel up, and Kestrel is a very squishy target. So for this weapon pedal, we obviously saw Best Chuck was able to make short work of it, and Flash obviously keeping Lulu tied up against that turret in a vulnerable position was absolutely huge for their cause. And, you know, talking about those boots for Von C, they were used to get in, get that root down, but now, you know, looking into these fights, if Von C can get a stun out of that Valkyrie and follow it up with a good root, it's going to make it so much easier for Flash to come through with those chain stuns, and that's what's going to make Xenotech or Lulu very susceptible to Von C, as obviously the Rhyme doesn't do as well against those ranged carries. Actually, most ranged carries are considered a counter against Rhyme. If Rhyme gets on you, that can be a nightmare very quickly.
Already been a little bit of a nightmare, and TSM are just moving towards the lane now. But like you said before, Gankstars, they've got this pressure advantage with this tier 1 turret down. They're going to be able to get some vision in, and they're going to be able to take control of this gold miner, you can imagine, as well. Now, TSM, they haven't been performing like out of their minds, but Best Chuck, he has been this kind of standout performer for TSM over the last couple of weeks. But as a whole, as a collective, as a team, they've not been pushing the limits like we've seen like Cloud9 do. We expect TSM to be this number 2 seeded team, and they just haven't quite meet our expectations just yet. I think they need to prove themselves in this game against Gankstars.
Yeah, they struggled the last couple weeks in the summer split as well, summer split number 2, and they were obviously able to come back, get that number 1 seed, just a couple points ahead of Cloud9. And, you know, that really, you know, is the true form of TSM that we need to look forward to, is if they can pull it together. Obviously last week, not the best week for them, but Iraqi's mentioned it before. When TSM loses, they train twice as hard and come back with a vengeance.
Right now, they did manage to take that gold miner, so that's actually a hefty sum of gold for them. Considering they're 1 turret down, they're still about 1,000 gold in the lead. There or thereabouts. They're going to have to respond to this minion candied wave, however, so Best Chuck is going to just rotate this beautiful turret taking compositions to go into such good effect. Pell does land once again on Xenotech. Valkyrie misses this time, and another 3-man Holy Nova is just going to hit all of TSM. Gankstars now on the retreat, however. They are going to have to be careful. Best Chuck and A just gets sniped out of nowhere, though. Glimmer shots were too good from Lulu. Daddy B just backing off now. At TSM, they stepped a little bit too far up, and their carry got killed.
Yeah, they definitely did. They put themselves in that position. Oh, Flash, what position have you put yourself in?
Ooh, that was close. Did use the boost to get away, but this is going to leave Gankstars with a little bit of time on this turret, or maybe just going to take some of these front camps away from TSM.
Yeah, I think that's definitely smart with Best Chuck coming. Xenotech obviously low on health and energy. Mac Daddy B a little bit low as well. Fountain is available, but Divine Intervention is down, and we know what a useful tool that damage reduction from a Divine Intervention can be. And unfortunately for TSM there, they did lose out on Best Chuck, but they were able to hold off on the turret, and that's what they have to be careful about. You mentioned it, that 3-man stun on that Holy Nova. Fortunately, Flash did block the Oblivion to follow it up, otherwise that could have been so much worse for TSM. But Mac Daddy B, you know, when he first joined on this team, we were maybe questioning some of his performances. He has really stepped his game up and is looking like a captain that can compete here at the top. And the aggressive plays out of him are absolutely beautiful.
You know what stands with C? Do you know 2 words that stand with C, Denominate? It's captain and carry. He's the carry of this team right now. The Holy Novas have just been absolutely unreal. They've been so good, and this is what we want to see from this Grace player. We've talked about it before, and they mentioned on the desk that he is such a phenomenal Grace player, and we want to see him on this more often. And I wonder if TSM are going to do anything about this. There's actually going to be a double Githian one in the back line there. Flashback's doing a marvellous job, but that Oblivion's really good, separating the team. Valkyrie comes down, though. They have isolated Xenotech. That's a massive heal coming out from Mac Daddy B, but it doesn't matter in the end. Lulu goes into the active camo, gets stunned up. Beautiful active camo trap, as Flashback has to roll away as he does get stunned. Another Holy Nova will stop Von C getting on top of Lulu, and Mac Daddy B will assassinate Flash X in the back line with that benediction. Von C is going to have to back off now as 2 of his teammates are just falling below him.
Yeah, and Gankstars is doing a fantastic job sticking into this game. As we get into that replay here, we'll see a beautiful stun coming out of Flash, but his team was just too far away, and at that point, the damage had been done. Xenotech did fall, and, it felt like a little bit sloppy of a fight, and as a result, Lulu was able to clean up 2 kills, or 1 kill, sorry about that. And, you know, just overall, TSM has not looked like the coordinated team we know them for, as now Gankstars did get that gold miner.
That was so close. I like baited my breath there. I thought Von C was going to see. I saw the winter spy, the spy just like ever so inch close to it, but it didn't end up stealing it. Gankstars now will even that gold lead, what we were talking about, and TSM still have not got that turret. So once more, Gankstars now, they're in a commanding position to just take control of TSM. And look at where the kills are as well. Lulu picked up one kill in that previous fight, a kill earlier on in the game. He's starting to come online. Sorrow Blade, he's got the monocle. He's going to get another crit item soon as well. Xenotech's going to be scaling up as well with a Broken Myth coming online soon. And now with this turret taking composition, it's going to be so easy for them to clear these waves out, pressure TSM where it hurts, and that is going to be their turrets.
And Flash has done absolute miracles getting out after these fights that have gone so poorly. But, you know, we're not at the point that this weapon pedal is really the commanding force that she can be. Obviously, as Best Chuck completes this second tornado trigger that he's working into, that will be a lot of additional crit, a lot of additional attack speed that he'll have. And then it'll be interesting to see if he works into that monocle for the last item or ends up going into any kind of pierce, for example, a tension bow. But TSM, you know, not looking to let up the aggression here, you know, trying to get some damage down on this turret when they can. Obviously, it has not worked out thus far for them, but they've been able to hold out on that second turret. So the Siege comp, maybe not doing the best job so far.
TSM, they're going fairly aggressive. Flash X tried to get an impale. That turret will end up falling. Here comes Mag Daddy B. Does get the Holy Nova onto Flash X, but they are trading up a lot of damage. Valkyrie onto the perfect target. Xenotech going really low. Divine Intervention to heal him up, but look at the backline. Flash X gets a two-man Githian wall, just making sure Gankstars cannot interfere with the death of Xenotech. Flash X rolling forwards. Lulu trying all his might to just send Von C fairly low with those glimmer shots. They're going to have to defend. TSM's health bars are blinking, but Vestchuk and A trampolining forwards cannot quite find the kill on Gankstars. They've held out for now, but they do lose a turret in the process.
Losing a turret, losing out on a Samuel, and it's not over.
Oh, that trampoline over the wall signals Lulu going back to base.
Yeah, and key moment here, Flash has picked up that metal jacket, so looking to frontline that damage that Lulu's able to put out. Obviously, with the Sorrow Blade and double monocle, those glimmer shots will hurt quite a sizable amount. But if Flash is able to soak up that damage, those glimmer shots are not going to be landing onto these squishy targets, most specifically Best Chuck, who's going to be going with those 4 offensive items. It does appear he is working into that monocle for his 4th item as we see that additional Lucky Strike in pocket. But overall, this game's been pretty back and forth, Jaws. I have to say, I am impressed with Gankstars' performance right now.
I absolutely am. I'm exactly the same boat right now, because Gankstars, they're sitting at 0 points in week 3. We're in week 3, Denominate, and they got 0 points to their name. Them coming up against the Titans that are TSM, this is a fantastic showing for them right now. They just need to be able to play to their win condition, and that win condition is taking those turrets ASAP with these glimmer shots and with the siege potential that Drifting Dark does entail. One shot, one kill, one come out. All strike Best Chuck, but does it like TSM are just determined to just take control of the center portion of the map. Xenotech a little bit caught out alone. Oh man, wrong place, wrong time, and what seemed to be enemy territory. TSM, they find one pick off here. The recall comes through from Lulu, but it is going to get cancelled there. It does pop in the active camo trap, but it isn't enough. Those minions are just going to signal his death. Best Chuck finds that kill, and that's going to be another gold miner to TSM.
Yeah, TSM finding a great pick on Xenotech there in the jungle. They were able to get one. They had vision on Lulu and Mac Daddy in the lane. They came up. A beautiful flare out of Flash helped Best Chuck get that recall stopped. And, you know, this critical build on Petal finds a kill, has enough gold in pocket for a monocle when he makes it to shop. But one important thing to notice was that TSM did have 2 infusions out on them in that last fight. And, you know, we always talk about it. They need to make use of infusions if you're going to buy them. And TSM did exactly that. Gold mine and 2 kills, leading 9-4 now, bringing the gold lead back into their favor. And 3,000, you know, here coming up on 15 minutes. The next fight could be disastrous for whichever team loses.
Especially as that base is going to get easily cracked. The amount of items that they have in their pockets, just everybody realistically, those turrets, they're gonna drop like a bit of paper in the wind. They're gonna float away. That's where the turrets will be later on. That Kraken is on the board, however, like you mentioned, 15 minutes on the clock. Very even in terms of gold. TSM now only inching 2,000 gold ahead again. but they've done a fantastic job of vision control here as well, and their positioning has been so aggressive. They're just consistently in Gankstars jungle, no matter how many turrets they were down there. Denominator. They were down a turret, no worries, we'll just sit in your jungle. We'll just keep sitting in jungle, finding these pickoffs, because we know if we find one of you, you will just get deleted. TSM now trying to proxy, they're trying to cut them off. Gankstars running away, they're on the wrong side of the map right now, and Pale does land straight onto Xenotech. He's in trouble, Valkyrie comes down as well, isn't going to quite land, and Vonsi trying to find a little entrance to this fight, but Bestchak's already down. Xenotech now isolating Flash X. Magdaddy B chasing Vonsi and Flash X away. Holy Nova does come out, but Githim Wall is going to be there to stop it. Madison Verdict didn't quite find the kill on Flash X, but it's not going to matter too much. They're just buying time now for Lulu to get into this lane. Vonsi going fairly low, does take the Treant away, but it will get stolen away by Xenotech. One shot, one kill, doesn't quite find him, but Malice and Verdict will. And now it's just Flash X running away, but look, Lulu is just taking down these turrets by storm.
Yeah, and one thing to make note was that Bestchak did have his 4th item complete while Lulu is only sitting on 3, working into the 4th, and due to the great positioning of Lulu in that fight, using the active camo properly, they were able to come through, find a kill on Bestchak. Xenotech eventually found a Vonsi in the jungle, but because of the amount of time that was wasted, I don't think Gankstars can safely take this Kraken. Bestchak is here, and the critical damage on this pedal could easily steal this Kraken away. This is a risky call.
It is fairly risky. MacDaddy B is going fairly low as well, but they are just going to drag it into the brush, and the Kraken that will be taking Gankstars with that on the board. Vonsi, he was just a little bit too late to the party, and that will mean that's a big net advantage there for Gankstars. And with this turret taking composition, I'm going to say it again. That is going to be like my catchphrase by the end of this game, Denominate. They are just going to shred these turrets, and TSM, they need to react, and they need to react fast.
Yeah, and Lulu has this bone saw complete now, so it will be more dangerous for Flash to be on that front line. Obviously, that armor shred will make it much easier for those armor shots to force out a fountain early out of Flash. Drifting Dark is down, and Gankstars looking to get a good push out.
Kraken already down to about 2/3 HP, Denominate. It's going fairly low. That Ped was just chomping through it. Valkyrie does land, a Root does land straight onto MacDaddy B, but their target is Lulu. Divine Intervention, not enough to stop him. Another 2-man Holy Nova while Xenotech is at the back. MacDaddy B trying to join his teammate, but just cannot. Completely separated, and that'll be a double kill for Bestchak and A, but their turret is going to fall in the meantime if they're not careful.
Yeah, definitely a rough spot for Lulu. Came out a little bit too far, and then when Bestchak came in with that trampoline, that ramped up damage, with the percentage of weapon power you gain on it, with this heavy crit build, 1, 2, 3, Lulu gets deleted, and obviously Bestchak now with that Aegis complete will be a little less susceptible to Xenotech, who has been forced, because of the damage that Bestchak has, to already build a metal jacket here on this Samuel. Only 2 items complete for Xeno as far as offense goes, and that's not the position you want Samuel to be in. You're hoping to get ahead in that mid game, find good fights, and then get that 3rd item online and push for a win off the back of it. And thanks to Bestchak, that's not been the case that Gankstars has been allowed.
Well, TSM's showing their experience now. They're recognizing that Xenotech's only got these 2 items in these fights, and Lulu has 4. Bonesaw, 2 monocles, and the Sorrow Blade. They know exactly what target to go for because they can brush Xenotech's damage off or just at least save him for later. Even Bestchak sitting on the 4 items, 2 tornado triggers, that monocle and the Sorrow Blade. It's working out wonders, and I mean, Weapon Power Pell, it seems to be here to stay for the moment at least.
Yeah, it is. It is a pick that actually was very popular back way in the beginning of Vainglory, back in 1.1 when Breaking Point was a little bit different. And, now Weapon Power Pedal's back, and Weapon Power Pedal is pretty dominant right now. The amount of damage that this pick can put down onto these squishy targets is huge, and that's really why Xenotech has built so defensively. But the composition that Gankstars has put together, with Lulu being at 4 items now, they can really force a lot out of Flash in the early part of a fight. And if they can do so, they can push through the rest of it. It's just about their positioning. Lulu cannot be that close to Bestchak. It has to be ready for that trampoline. Hopefully have an active camo down, look for a stun, and that's where Gankstars will be able to capitalize on the back of it.
TSM have been playing like TSM in these fights. Their maneuvering around the map has just been absolutely stupendous, and their positioning as well in these fights has just been very, very good. Gankstars, though, they are stepping up. Maybe it just took a couple of weeks for them to really get online and truly gel as a unit. They're showing TSM what's for, and they just, again, they just need to keep Lulu alive, right? They just need to make sure nice and safe in the back so Xenotech can kite backwards with that Drifting Dark, and then you've got Mac Daddy B for the last line of defense. Oh, sorry, it should be the first line of defense, realistically. This Kraken is available now. Hopefully, you say hopefully, yeah, but we've seen it time and time again, really, that Lulu just gets caught out, but that's just down to Flash X being such a fantastic lance. They're going to start this Kraken now. This is going to be very speedy with Best Chuck's on his damage.
Yeah, it is, but Gankstars knows it's coming, and will they be able to pull something off here, Jaws? I don't know if they can.
Benediction in, the Kraken very low. Valkyrie comes out, does end up missing, but it's not going to matter. It seems the Kraken gets released, and it's going to go onto TSM's side. Wartreads is pod from Gankstars. They're running on a whole minefield of scout traps, but they are going to be able to get out alive, deciding just to live another day. Go back to base, get some HP, and then just try and take down this Kraken ASAP. It's now on TSM's side. What can they do with it? They still got 2 turrets in the way before they end up opening this base.
Actually, a little shocked here, Jaws, that Gankstars didn't decide to go in there. Mac Daddy still had the fountain, still had the Divine Intervention ready to go, and they'd already baited that all out of Flash, and so it seemed like it should have been a clean-cut push there. They stopped the healing from the Kraken buff, and now Flash, you're in a bad spot.
He's in a bad spot. Does use that time to get away, though. Best Chuck and 8 kiting in the back line. Hello, what are you doing there, my friend? Xenotech's just going to punish you. Almost takes him out. Flash X going very low as well. Now, Gankstars, they are on the pursuit. Flash X gets a nice getting more. Valkyrie comes out from Von C to kite back even further. Xenotech, still with only 2 damaging items, cannot find any killing blows on Von C. But with 2 members down, they can now handily deal with this Kraken. But I got a feeling that turret is going to fall in this next push.
Yeah, turret definitely looking pretty weak there, and I actually think I would have liked to see Gankstars try to chase down Von C. As we get into that last fight, we'll see Flash was bursted down so low, and then Chuck just went a little bit too far. Lulu was able to get out, and they found a kill. They eventually, they got Flash first. Eventually, Chuck did fall down here in the jungle, obviously with that scout trap explosion. If they would have been able to chase out and find Von C, if they got the ace there, this pushing power, they could have just base raced that Kraken, and it would have been a risky call because if they didn't get the ace, their base obviously could have been decimated. But the rewards versus the risk, the death timers in this 23-minute game, very long death timers, I think Gankstars could have and should have done it.
Well, the base race might be inevitable. TSM, they've got a good job. They've got a good bunch of mobility. I'm thinking about Flash X, combat rolling over, trampoline over the wall, get a sneaky backdoor going. But Gankstars, they haven't got the same amount of mobility, but they've still got immense pushing power on these turrets. TSM, unrelenting though, they will just try and take this Crystal Sentry. And 1-shot, 1-kill will strike Best Chuck. 1 more life remaining on that last objective in the side of Gankstars jungle. TSM look like they're back to their old tricks. And I thought myself, I've been, been watching NA Live and just reviewing some of the VODs. Was this maybe a little bit of a downfall for TSM? Were the Titans finally getting slain? But right now, they're playing up to their name.
Yeah, they are, and off the back of a actually really surprising loss to Nova. And now, I don't want to take it away from Nova. They played out of their minds last weekend, but I don't think anybody really expected it to go out that way. So again, TSM, when they do lose, they try twice as hard. They practice twice as hard, and it shows pretty consistently. When they do lose, they come back with a vengeance. They come back and, really try to be as dominant as they can. And now this is a sneaky play started up here. Von C and Best Chuck obviously taking this Kraken down so quickly with all 3 members of Gankstars alive, and with only 1 and a very hurt turret in the Gankstars base. This could potentially be the last fight here, Jaws. I mean,
I think they're going for a base race here, Denominator. Hang on a second here. TSM, they have to respond to this one, otherwise their base will fall very quickly. That Kraken, obviously very slow. TSM, they do go for the engage. Flash X gets a 2-man impale. Githian Wall does land as well. That Wartreads is going to be able to reposition them, but Gankstars moving in, and Impale does end up missing. Von C on the back line. Valkyrie comes down. Lulu is now trapped in a 1v3 situation. They corner him and take him down. Gankstars now on the run. Xenotech uses that reflex blow choke. Magdaddy B with a divine intervention to heal him up, but the Kraken is still marching on their base. This very well could be the Kraken just ending it here for TSM. Githian Wall into the Impale does signal Magdaddy B's death, and now is only Xenotech, last member alive, has to get a 1v3 miracle play off here. The Impale doesn't end up missing. Flash X very low. Drifting Dart comes through. Vonsi with a massive shield is going to come up big. TSM find the ace. The Kraken is still destroying the base of Gankstars, and they are going to take game number 1.
TSM coming in strong, finding out that trying to pull off a sneaky play there. Gankstars unfortunately lost out on the fight. Lulu got so separated, and it did end up being TSM coming through, looking like a good contender. If they can keep this up, they could push for that world spot.
TSM back to their old tricks, back to their old ways. What a fantastic game from them, but equally so from Gankstars. Put up a mean fight, but we'll throw it to our analyst.